Today we'll be doing part two on snowstorms and ice storms that hit the Bloomington area. The first one that I'll talk about, we'll just see a picture first of all of the old Baptist church, which was used by Hermsons for storage back there quite a few years back. This shows some of the snow, not that it's from the same storm, but just to make you think about how snow looked and how things got kind of covered up and not the easiest to get to at times. I'll mention just a little bit there from my memories there about 73, April 9th. The Bloomington School District hadn't lost any days due to closings during the irregular winter. It looked like the school would get all of the spring vacation. Usually students and teachers both looking forward to whatever time off there might be. It could fall at Easter time, whatever. But snow was starting to brew during the day on Sunday. I had been over to the nursing home in Boscobel, was coming back. There was a little snow starting to show on the Highway 18 shoulders. Now, I didn't think too much about it. I don't remember whether we had a forecast of anything terrible for snow or not. Sometimes storms would develop because maybe a thunderstorm could hit a cold air mass, and that could dump a lot of snow in a hurry, but I don't remember for sure what exactly happened. That night, though, the storm really cut loose and plugged up things for a few days. My mobile home that I had was over on the west side of town, and I was going to get moved over to the Brooklyn area on Monday. Well, that got delayed for a few weeks before that took place. So it did disrupt things for a while and was quite unusual. In the next part, we'll talk a little bit more about the ice storm of 1976. And we have a couple pictures here. The one shows a tree heavily covered with ice. And that was a major problem because trees, after a while, the limbs couldn't stand holding all that stuff so long. But that stuff would hang on and on. And we do have another scene here across the end of the high school parking lot at the time in Bloomington. And I don't know how well it'll show, but the power line was hanging very, very low at that point. And of course, if there was any wind, those things would start waving back and forth. And that was one of the problems, of course, is that the ice didn't disappear right away. It stayed on lines for days, causing additional breaks and problems. Now, I'll mention some things here because this is at the time of the high school girls state basketball tournament at Madison. So this is some of my memories here. The fan buses from Bloomington High School got canceled because of a heavy snow falling at first. That threw everybody off kilter on what was going to take place. I was able to get a ride with a person that had a pickup, and there were a few of us, and we went that way. On the way, ice was forming on the fences and on up. The Highway 18 road surface was okay as I remember it. Power was out in some places in the Madison area. As we got closer, we found out about that. Those of us in the pickup, were able to stop for a lunch at a truck stop that still had power while on the way home. When we got home, we could stand outside and hear branches crack and fall from the ice weight. Luckily, at that time, we still had Don Reed in the village, and he had a Wisconsin Power and Light pickup truck and was working for Wisconsin Power and Light. I think a transformer had failed or a limb broke a line on the west side of the village. Don't quite remember for sure now. Don called a power and light crew in Prairie du Chien and asked them to bring the big truck. Well, the crew in Prairie wanted to wait until the next day, but fortunately, Don insisted that they come right away. By the next day, trucks were in need everywhere. It might have been impossible to get one here. Power was out for a few hours, but was restored in the village, luckily. The village of Bloomington was about the only one of smaller communities with power still going. Power was out in the surrounding area for a few days. Ice stayed on lines for days, so some lines still ended up breaking or failing. Trees were covered with layers of ice for a long period of time. And so that's one of the memories that really does stay. That you never know what can take place. Weather can change drastically. Some winters have been kind to us, but now this year, January and February changed places on us, and hopefully here pretty quick, because this is being done here on the 20th of February, that temperatures will go up, but still they're still talking some snow. March even still might be interesting according to the Farmer's Almanac. But that concludes our talk about ice and snowstorms.